Here's your wrestling news for January 5th, 2021. And your headlines for today include Goldberg's return on Raw and what awaits at Royal Rumble 2021. What's with Randy Orton on Raw? Why is WWE treating The Miz and John Morrison this way? Has Riddle entered into the US title picture with his win on Raw? What's next for Bobby Lashley? More entrants declared for 2021 WWE Royal Rumble matches. Brody Lee wanted to invade AEW with FTR. Major update on Dominic Mysterio. What's next for him? Hulk Hogan says younger WWE superstars aren't welcoming to him. AEW wrestler reacts. Mandy Rose set to be deposed in Sonya Deville's stalker trial. WWE wrestler vents about Legends taking Retribution spot on WWE Raw, and more. We're kicking off today with WWE Raw, as the company's Legends Night special had plenty of huge moments and matches throughout its 3 hours. Though last night's show was a big way for the Red Brand to kick off 2021, it did have quite a bit of false advertising, as to describe the show as a Legends Night was a stretch. Although there were legends galore during the 3 hours, many were barely used, with Melina, a former Women's and Divas champion, returning to say Lucha with the Lucha House Party in a 45-second segment backstage. Names like Tatanka, Sergeant Slaughter, and Molly Holly also showed up for no real reason, but at least WWE gave Tori Wilson and the Boogeyman something to do during the show. Let's just say that the advertising for Raw's Legends Night wasn't matched by the final product, as the company chose to focus on the quantity of legends there rather than the quality of the show. What good is having dozens of legends on a 3-hour show if they do nothing and also take away spots from current-day superstars? That's a question the WWE has yet to answer. Fortunately, the final segment of the show was saved for 2 current-day superstars, as in the main event, WWE Champion Drew McIntyre successfully defended his title against Keith Lee. It was a hard-hitting match that neither man left unscathed, as McIntyre and Lee both proved why they're 2 of the top names on the Red Brand in 2021. A show of respect between champion and challenger led to the legends giving an ovation until Goldberg's music hit and the focus was on him. It should hardly be a surprise that WWE are using Goldberg, someone they tend to go to whenever ratings are dipping, especially as, unlike names like Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair, Goldberg can still go in the ring under the right conditions. The Hall of Famer wasted no time in sizing up McIntyre, and although he deemed the Scotsman a worthy WWE champion, Goldberg plans on cutting this reign short. Challenging McIntyre to a title match at the Royal Rumble, Goldberg went on to accuse him of thinking that he's better than all the legends were in their prime, and whether that's true or not is up for debate, but what we do know is that the Hall of Famer wants the title. Although this will be a huge match worthy of its place on the pay-per-view, the negative side is that the match will probably be short to hide Goldberg's limitations at 54 years old. If the idea of a 5-minute WWE title match isn't bad enough for fans, then it's even worse when you consider that McIntyre's chances of retaining are slim. WWE usually relies on a Goldberg title win to help pop the ratings, and after he squashed the popular Fiend for the Universal title last year, there's no reason to think WWE wouldn't put the WWE Championship on the Hall of Famer this month at the expense of McIntyre. But we're asking, do you want to see this match? And who do you want to see leave as WWE Champion? How would you book such a collision? Let us know in the comments. Speaking of championship gold, fans finally got to see Riddle face US Champion Bobby Lashley in a non-title match, and it seems these days, the way to get to a champion is by beating them in a match. It was interesting that Jeff Hardy didn't get involved at all, as he had a match with Randy Orton later in the night, and despite Lashley dominating the entertaining match, it was Riddle who got the win. Despite tapping, the original Bro countered the Almighty into a pinfall, gaining the victory, and although it wasn't the cleanest win, a win is a win at the end of the day. We expect Riddle to enter the US title picture now that he's pinned the champion, but given that Lashley is announced for the Royal Rumble match, fans will see this feud play out on Raw. Is this the right time to have Riddle dethrone Lashley and become United States Champion? Or will the Almighty's strong booking see his reign continue past the King of Bros? Let us know what you think below. Monday Night Raw also saw a new feud start for The Miz, as he and John Morrison were both still pleased about the A-lister regaining the Money in the Bank briefcase. When the duo hosted the New Day on the dirt sheet, the stars aligned for Teddy Long to return, who teased that either Miz or Morrison would go one-on-one with The Undertaker. A classic trope of Teddy Long's reign as SmackDown general manager, the Hall of Famer was quickly reminded that the Phenom retired at the Final Farewell last November, and instead booked a tag team match, another trope of the former GM. The match saw the New Day win over Miz and Morrison, and though we liked the match and all four men, it seems strange that WWE is back to burying The Miz now that he's the Money in the Bank holder. If WWE didn't want Miz to be a world champion, then they wouldn't have given the briefcase back to him. But if there are plans for the A-lister to hold gold once more, then having him lose week after week is not the way to go about things. If The Miz's booking was odd, then the booking for Randy Orton was downright bizarre, as the Viper emerged to say that he didn't burn Alexa Bliss last week on Raw, regretting the compassion that he showed. With so many legends on the show last night, Orton seemed to be in his legend killer mood, a side of him fans saw in 2020 when he took out the likes of Edge, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, and The Big Show. As the show went on, though, more and more legends escaped unscathed, and though he made threats and berated the legends verbally, Orton did nothing to cement his moniker as the Legend Killer. Instead, he faced Jeff Hardy, reigniting their feud from a few years ago, and picked up the win, but we're wondering why Jeff seems to be losing week after week, but only to top superstars. Hardy aside, it was strange that the last Raw of 2020 ended on such a shocking cliffhanger that was barely followed up on, as there was no Alexa Bliss and certainly no Bray Wyatt. Perhaps this week was just meant to make Orton look good, which he did by beating Hardy before announcing himself as an entrant in the 2021 Men's Rumble match. It had been previously reported that Orton was going to have a Firefly Funhouse match with Wyatt at the Rumble, but with Orton now in the Rumble match, it seems their feud will play out only on Raw. But would you rather see Orton and The Fiend in the Rumble? Or do you think they do better in their own Firefly Funhouse match? Sound off below. This week's Raw also saw the Red Brand build towards the Royal Rumble pay-per-view as more names have been added to the two 30 superstar matches. On this week's show, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Riddle, and Elias all announced their participation, joining SmackDown's Daniel Bryan, who is an early favorite to win the whole match. For the women's match, only two entrants have been announced: Nia Jax, one of the few women to compete in a men's Rumble match, and Charlotte Flair, who won last year's Women's Rumble. At this time, no NXT superstars have been announced for either match, but WWE have plenty of time to flesh out the lists of participants before the Rumble on January 31st. AEW news next, as Brody Lee's career with the company was tragically cut short, and there was one big plan he wanted to pull off that fans didn't get to see. Appearing on Talk is Jericho, FTR spoke about the plan Lee had for himself and the former Revival when they debuted in the All Elite promotion, saying, "We had a group text with him, and he said, 'I want us to be the Radicals.' Me, Cash, and him, he wanted us to be the Radicals. We had these big, grandiose plans to come in together." The Radicals, comprising of Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Perry Saturn, and Dean Malenko, made a huge mark during the Monday Night Wars when they jumped from WCW to the WWF. And we imagine that Lee and FTR would have had a similar impact if they'd all joined AEW as one team. Ultimately, that didn't happen, and although both FTR and Lee went on to hold championship gold in AEW, it would have been interesting to see all three men work together after their WWE departures. Back to WWE, and one name expected to be in this month's Men's Rumble match is Dominic Mysterio, especially given the 23-year-old's big move across the United States. During Keeping It 100, Conan said that Dominic is moving to Florida, either Tampa or Orlando, so he can train more, which will eliminate having to travel across the country for WWE's weekly TV tapings from the Thunderdome. Dominic added, "I have so many options there to pick and choose from to be able to learn and to be able to grow myself as a wrestler. I probably wouldn't permanently move down there. It'd probably be temporary, just until I can get on my feet in California." Dominic has already impressed people backstage with his SummerSlam 2020 debut and subsequent work in the ring, and we imagine the fact that he's moved across the US to focus on wrestling can only help his image with those making decisions behind the scenes. From a fresh face to an unquestionable icon of wrestling, as last night's Legends Night special saw Hulk Hogan return to the Red Brand in his first appearance since 2019. On the show, Hogan helped start the show and had a backstage promo with Drew McIntyre, but according to the former WWF champion, not everyone was pleased to see him. Speaking to ESPN before Raw went on the air, Hogan spoke about the mixed reaction he gets from those backstage, saying, "Some people I get a really warm reception from. Some of the younger guys are really cold to me, like I'm coming to steal the main event, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore, guys, I'm not a threat. When I've gone back before by myself, there have been certain wrestlers like Edge and Seth Rollins that have told me to my face that the only reason they got into this business was because of me." His belief that younger wrestlers don't like him because they fear he'll take their spot didn't go down well though, with AEW's Big Swole saying, "Nah, I don't think that's it, Terry," alluding to Hogan's history of using the N-word and being, quote, racist to a point. It's these comments that led to him being fired from WWE in 2015 before being reinstated into the Hall of Fame 3 years later. Whether fans like it or not, there's few names, if any, more legendary than Hulk Hogan, even if some younger superstars aren't Hulkamaniacs themselves. Now, in the summer of 2020, Sonya Deville fortunately avoided a kidnapping attempt by a fan, but she wasn't alone in her home on that fateful night. At the time of the attempted kidnapping, Mandy Rose was with her in her home and witnessed the whole thing, and according to PW Insider, the Golden Goddess will testify in court about what she saw. This testimony will take place at 1 p.m. on February 3rd, whilst Deville herself is set to give a video testimony via Zoom call on February 13th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Police officers who responded to the 911 call at Deville's home will take the stand on February 18th, whilst Philip A. Thomas, the man accused of the attempted kidnapping, will be on the stand on February 25th. It was a shock to many people in WWE that Sonya returned before the trial was concluded, but hopefully she'll be able to get the justice she deserves soon enough after going through this terrible ordeal. And we're ending today with more news from Legends Night, and Mustafa Ali made it clear that he wasn't a fan of the show during the Raw Talk post-show. During the 3-hour Raw, Retribution wasn't seen at all, further hinting that WWE has given up with the team, and Ali wasn't pleased to see how a current-day team, as well as other current superstars, were left off the show for names from the past. He said, "Guys like Drew Gulak, Akira Tozawa, Retribution, all off the show because we have to hear 'What you gonna do, brother?' again for the 7 millionth time?" Ali didn't hold back on the Hulkster and other legends, saying, "They pumped the cheers in really good for them," highlighting WWE being able to control the fans' reactions inside the Thunderdome. To his credit, Ali did raise some good points about WWE relying on legends over and over again rather than focusing on current-day superstars, and it's clear he's one of the younger names Hogan was alluding to who wasn't pleased to see the Hulkster back.